The chapter opens inside another violent nightmare. Our boy Lu Sheng was watching a ruined skyline get torn apart right in front of him. The buildings were collapsing one after another, and the streets were on fire. Then a giant monster with glowing red eyes appeared above the wreckage. The thing loomed over everything and stared straight down at him. Lu Sheng tried to move, but his body was frozen in place. Just then the dream cut off and he jolted awake. His classmates were shaking him by the shoulders again. He looked around the classroom and realized he had slept through another full school day. His friends laughed at him and started teasing him for somehow turning sleep into his entire personality. Then the teacher walked over to his desk. The guy warned our boy that if he kept slacking off like this, no one would ever hire him. Not even a construction site would take him in. The minimum health status required for a manual laborer was 0.8, and Lu Sheng was stuck at 0.7. His best friend Lu Qiming jumped in to defend him right away. He told the teacher to lay off because Lu Sheng's health was too low for him to do anything other than sleep. The teacher sighed and gave up and dismissed the whole class. Once the room cleared out, Lu Qiming asked our boy if the nightmare came back again. Lu Sheng admitted that it did. It was the same desolate field, with no humans anywhere and only monsters walking around in the distance. But neither of them took it seriously at all. They figured saving the world was a job for the genius martial artists in the National Defense Corps. It was not a job for ordinary low-rank kids like them. Lu Sheng turned down their invitation to play games after school and started walking home alone. On the way home, our boy was reflecting on his own life. He thinks to himself that even though humanity had reincarnated into a powered-up future world, his life was still nothing but final exams and homework. But the moment that thought landed in his head, a woman built like a tank suddenly shoved past him on the sidewalk. The woman was carrying a stack of steel beams on her shoulders. The young man stared after her in disbelief. He realized just how far behind the rest of humanity he really was. Back at home, his father started teasing him for being soft. His mother scolded him to eat more food. But the real surprise came when his dad pulled out 2 bottles of the Benevolent Clinic's premium health recovery powders. These were the most expensive brand currently advertised on television. The whole family started celebrating right there in the living room. But our boy quietly noticed something. His sister's health status had already climbed close to 0.9, and his own status had not moved past 0.6 in a long time. He told himself he needed to start working out before the gap became impossible to close. That night, Lu Sheng locked himself inside his room. He started running through the 14th revision of the 29 body reconstruction techniques. The narration explains that this training regimen had been developed by the World Martial Alliance, specifically to help weak-bodied humans rebuild their foundations. The narrator then drops the world's full backstory. 300 years ago, enormous cracks had torn open the sky and the earth. Terrifying monsters started pouring out of those cracks, and they almost wiped humanity out completely. However, in response to all of this, a hidden genetic lock inside the human body suddenly broke loose. Because of this, everyone's strength got multiplied many times over, and the era of martial arts prosperity began. Even so, humanity was still being pushed back, they were still losing ground, and they were still trapped in an endless cycle of war. Lu Sheng pushed through 3 full sets of the technique. His health status refused to budge at all. He decided to push for 4 sets, and then 5 sets, and then 6. His arms were shaking and his lungs were burning. But our boy kept going anyway. Then he collapsed from sheer exhaustion before he could finish the last set. Just then he opened his eyes inside the desolate field from his nightmare. A rotting zombie suddenly lunged at him out of the dark. The thing was snarling and it had glowing red eyes. Lu Sheng realized he had not actually woken up this time. He grabbed the only weapon within reach, which was a jagged rock from the ground. He remembered that a zombie's true weakness was always the head. He smashed the rock down on the creature's skull over and over again. After several brutal hits, the body finally went still on the ground. But the moment the corpse stopped moving, a thick black mist began pouring out of it. The mist flooded straight into our boy's mind. He saw fragments of the zombie's past life from back when it was still human. The thing used to be a young soldier who had enlisted in the Defense Corps. The guy had trained under a sergeant for many months. He had fought side by side with his squad on the front lines. Then he got turned into the very monster he had been sent to kill. Lu Sheng had no idea why killing the creature had given him a stranger's entire memory. But before he could process any of it, a second monster charged at him from behind. He swung on instinct. The creature exploded apart in a single hit. Our boy stared down at his own hands in disbelief. He could not recognize his own body anymore. He realized that killing the zombie didn't just transfer its memories. It also transferred its strength. After our boy Liu Shang killed the second monster inside his nightmare, he was standing there in the dream field and staring down at his own shaking hands. He could not accept what just happened to him. The young man had inherited an entire lifetime of combat experience from a single kill, and his head was spinning from it. Liu Shang tried to brush the whole thing off as a hallucination, but the wind blowing across his face felt real, and the dust around his feet felt real, and even the weight of his own body felt real to him. None of this was a dream at all. Then a fragment from the absorbed memory suddenly surfaced inside his head. It was the name of a place called Base 13510. The same location had flickered through the previous monster's memories too. Our boy realized that if he could find Base 1359 in the real world, he might finally uncover the truth behind these recurring nightmares of his. It was almost as if his body had started adapting to the whole process on its own. Because of this, Liu Shang decided that from now on he was going to specifically hunt combat-type zombies. Their inherited fighting techniques and their battlefield experience were far more useful than what regular monsters carried around. Just then, a status alert flashed across his vision, and it said, "Monster Clearing Ability Up." The dream world itself was treating him like a player leveling up in a game, but the moment he registered the upgrade, an invisible force suddenly slammed him out of the dream. Liu Shang woke up gasping on his bedroom floor. His mother's voice was ringing through the door at full volume. She was yelling at him to come down for dinner and asking how much longer he was going to laze around in his room. The young man stumbled to his feet and opened the door. He found his younger sister Lu Qinghe waiting for him out in the hallway. She had her arms crossed and she was glaring at him with sharp eyes. The narration introduces his sister as the family's certified prodigy. She was a top student and her stats were strong, and she had a clear future ahead of her in martial arts. She started lecturing our boy for sleeping the day away again. But the moment Liu Shang scratched his head and laughed it off, she noticed something and froze mid-sentence. His arms were noticeably thicker than they had been the night before. She muttered under her breath that he must have been putting in real effort behind closed doors. His physique had clearly changed overnight. Liu Shang locked himself inside the bathroom right after that. He pulled off his shirt and looked into the mirror. The reflection in front of him stopped him cold. His chest and his shoulders and his stomach were all packed with lean muscle that had not been there before. The young man flexed his arms once and then twice. He could not recognize his own body anymore. He noted to himself that he didn't feel sluggish at all, even though he had just woken up. Instead, our boy felt brimming with raw energy from head to toe. Every combat technique from the absorbed monsters was sitting fully formed inside his head, and they were waiting to be used. At dinner, Liu Shang wolfed down so many bowls of rice that even his sister stopped mid-bite to stare at him in horror. His mother quietly defended him at the table and chalked the whole thing up to a teenage growth spurt. But his appetite had clearly become inhuman by this point. The young man realized his metabolism had spiked up to keep pace with his new body. He thinks that he was going to need a real source of income soon if he wanted to keep eating like this every single day. Under the table, our boy secretly checked his health status. The number really had climbed overnight. He decided he needed to get his stats officially measured at a proper testing facility right away. The next day, Liu Shang headed straight to Hongchuan Dojo. The narration drops the world's full power system onto the screen here. Martial artists were ranked by both their health status and their combat power. A rank 4 martial artist needed a health status above 1.5 and a combat power above 1500. The peak of rank 4 demanded a health status above 100 and a combat power above 100,000. Only the children of wealthy families could afford private one-on-one tuition with a real master. Ordinary students were stuck in group classes that produced barely any real results. The receptionist offered our boy a spot in their enrichment program, but the young man brushed her offer aside. He didn't come to the dojo to sign up for lessons. He just wanted his current stats measured today. He placed his hand flat on the testing machine. Energy started flooding into the device from his palm. The screen displayed the result, and it said his health status was 0.983 at apprentice rank. His stats had jumped almost zero point 0.2 points in a single hour of dream training. Lu Sheng clenched his fist and grinned to himself in the testing room. He realized that if a 1-hour nap could give him this much progress, then a full 8 or 10 hours of sleep would practically rebirth him overnight. But when the machine measured his combat power separately, the number flashed back at 113. The number was far above what his health status alone would normally predict. Our boy stared at the screen in shock. He realized that absorbing zombies had given him a quality of body that ordinary cultivation could never produce on its own. Lu Sheng headed home with one clear goal in his head. He wanted to fall asleep again right away and farm more progress through another dream session. But the moment he lay down on his bed, he ran into a problem. He could not fall asleep at all, no matter how hard he tried. He had already burned through his daily quota of rest by dozing through class earlier in the day. He started running through the standard radio gymnastics routine that he had practiced since elementary school. But the second he began the first move, his arms started moving on their own. They flowed through a completely different sequence, and they were glowing with strange blue energy. The young man was executing motions that he had never been taught in his entire life. Lu Sheng froze mid-pose and stared down at his own hands in confusion. He asked himself out loud what he had just done and why he would suddenly perform a movement that he didn't even recognize. But then it hit him. His body had remembered something that his mind had never actually learned. Fragments of a dead monster's past life flickered behind his eyes. Our boy Lu Sheng practiced the inherited body training technique alone inside his apartment. He repeated each movement 200 more times in a row. He could feel raw power surging through every single limb of his body. But Lu Sheng quickly realized that the real value of this technique was not just hidden in the movements alone. There was a breathing rhythm woven into the whole sequence, and no school in the entire world had ever taught him anything like it. The young man notes that even 5 full years of standard martial arts training would not produce results this fast. He confirmed that the true treasure trove of strength was waiting for him inside his nightmares. But the price of growing this fast was hunger. The hunger hit our boy so violently that he collapsed to his knees on the floor. He realized his body could no longer keep up with the amount of energy his cells were burning through. Regular food was not going to cut it anymore for him. He needed nutrient-dense martial arts pills now, and these pills cost a lot of money. Money the young man did not have at all. Because of this, Lu Sheng decided he had to start earning some real cash right away. Then he remembered something important. His school handed out scholarships to the top performers in the upcoming combat assessment. He realized that if he wanted to grab that prize money, he was going to have to put on a real display of his abilities in front of the entire class. The scene cuts to the sports gym a little while later. Lu Sheng was already in the locker room and his classmate could barely recognize him at all. The guy stared at him for a few seconds and asked when he got such a defined physique. Our boy told him he had been working out lately. The friend laughed it off and assumed Lu Sheng was just trying to impress the girls right before exams. The young man didn't bother correcting him at all. He was already focused on the practical combat class that was about to begin. Inside the gym, the combat instructor announced a review of basic techniques to everyone. The students started gossiping among themselves. They were excited that Mu Zichu was teaching them today. The instructor was a rank 2 martial artist, and the guy had once been deployed to a real battlefield in his career. But our boy quietly noted something to himself in his head. The techniques carved into his mind from the zombies' memories were far more refined than anything a rank 2 human could ever use. Then the instructor called up Yang Yifei to demonstrate the techniques. The young man was the strongest student in class, and the richest student in class, and the best-looking student in the entire school. His health status had nearly hit 1.2 thanks to his family's expensive pills. Yang Yifei looked over at Lu Sheng across the room and privately wrote him off as a low-rank fluke with no future at all. But our boy silently decided that he was going to grab the scholarship and the spotlight today with his own 2 hands. After Yang Yifei finished his demonstration, the instructor opened the floor for any student to spar with him. The entire class went dead silent. Nobody wanted to embarrass themselves against the school's top genius. But just then, Lu Sheng calmly raised his hand into the air. The instructor was shocked that such a frail-looking student would volunteer for this match. His friend frantically told him to back down right away. The guy warned him that losing here would seriously hurt his pride right before exams. But our boy told him he had been training hard lately. He stepped onto the mat anyway. The instructor pulled up Lu Sheng's last recorded health status, which was 0.802. He openly noted how low the number was in front of everyone. But the guy admitted that this match was going to come down to pure technique and not raw stats. He gave our boy 10 minutes on the clock for the spar. He reminded both students about the safety rules, and then he signaled for the match to start. Yang Yifei opened the fight with a textbook strike. He started lecturing Lu Sheng in the middle of the fight on how to fall safely and how to protect his vitals and how to guard his head from punches. Yang Yifei was speaking down to our boy like he had already won the whole match. Lu Sheng calmly thanked him for all the reminders. Then he politely invited Yang Yifei to come at him whenever he was ready to attack. The instructor started narrating the principles of vitality and rhythm and counterattack out loud for the rest of the class to hear. But the moment Yang Yifei moved in for the finishing combo and expected to embarrass our boy in front of everyone, Lu Sheng's body suddenly lit up with the inherited zombie energy. Then he threw a single hard punch. Yang Yifei was launched off his feet and crashed across the gym floor. The guy was unconscious before he even hit the ground. The entire class froze in stunned silence around the mat. They realized that the school's top genius had just been knocked out cold by the boy with the lowest health status in the room. After our boy Lu Sheng had absolutely demolished Yang Yifei with a single punch, the entire class was losing their minds over what they had just seen. Yang Yifei's vitality was sitting at 1.22, and the guy was no pushover at all. The young man had a high stat, and yet he could not hold up against Lu Sheng for even a second. Others wondered if this was even the same guy they knew from class every day. The commotion caught the attention of Teacher Zheng. He was the school's main martial arts instructor, and the guy had been watching the spar from across the gym. He went straight up to the boy and called him into his office to talk. Then he confronted Lu Sheng directly. He asked the young man if he had used any kind of illegal performance enhancers before today's match. Lu Sheng swore that he was completely clean and he had not taken anything at all. But Teacher Zheng was not fully convinced by the answer. His logic for the test was very simple. If Lu Sheng had really used drugs, his vitality reading would be unstable, and the numbers on the orb would fluctuate wildly. The young man placed his hand flat on the assessment orb. He waited for the result to appear on the screen. The result finally came back, and the number was 1.57. Teacher Zheng's jaw hit the floor right away. That number was completely stable on the orb. There was no fluctuation at all in the reading. The guy could not believe his own eyes. Our boy's combat strength had officially surpassed that of a rank 1 martial artist. And Lu Sheng was not even 18 years old yet. All of this growth had happened in just half a month. Zheng's shock quickly turned into excitement. The guy started grinning from ear to ear in front of the orb. He pulled out a martial arts black card from his pocket and handed it to our boy. The card was loaded with at least 100,000 on it. The amount was way more than any normal scholarship would ever pay out to a student. Lu Sheng was grateful for the card and he thanked his teacher right away. Then he headed back to class with the black card in his hand. The moment our boy walked out the door of the office, Teacher Zhang could barely contain himself anymore. White Lake School finally had a monster-level talent on its roster. The guy had been waiting for a student like this for years. He decided right then and there to keep Lu Sheng's true strength a complete secret until the national examinations. Our boy Lu Feng walked into a traditional Chinese medicine hall in the city. Lu Feng started reflecting on his own life as he stood there in the shop. The young man's life had completely changed in just a short amount of time. He used to be just an ordinary person trapped in his own world. He had been like a small fish stuck in a tiny pond for years and years, but now he had gained the ability to cultivate real martial arts and change his entire destiny. Our boy silently vowed to keep getting stronger every single day. He thinks to himself that he was going to fight for what he wanted in life. He wanted strength for himself, and he wanted a good life for his parents back home too. Then the scene shifts hard to the future world. Lu Feng was already locked in battle with a powerful zombie-like creature. The fight was brutal, and the two of them were trading heavy blows back and forth. The creature's raw strength was terrifying to deal with. The young man took some serious hits during the fight, and his body was bruised all over. But he refused to back down at all. He used every single technique he had mastered up to this point. Our boy quickly calculated in his head that based on the creature's power output, the thing should be around a certain cultivation rank. He had been training specifically to handle opponents at exactly this kind of level. Lu Feng finally arrived at base 1369 after the fight was over. The young man was completely stunned by what he saw in front of him. A massive and magnificent city wall stretched out before his eyes for miles. Our boy could not believe a base this large could even exist in this kind of broken world. But as he got closer to the wall, he noticed something was clearly wrong with the place. There were signs of recent destruction everywhere on the ground around him. The young man wondered what had happened to the people inside the base. He also wondered what the future held for a civilization that was sitting right on the edge of total collapse. Just then, our boy spotted something disturbing nearby. A zombie was sitting completely motionless on the ground near the entrance gate. The thing wasn't moving at all, and it looked almost peaceful in the dirt. But before Lu Feng could react to the situation, more zombies suddenly appeared from behind some rubble and attacked him together. He fought them all off quickly with his bare hands. He smashed them down one after another with ease this time. The young man was way stronger than the last time he had been here. After clearing the whole area, our boy started exploring what looked like a regular apartment building nearby. The scene inside the building was grim and quiet everywhere. The food was still sitting on the tables and the chairs were knocked over on the floor. Lu Feng was shaken by how suddenly everything had ended for these ordinary people. Then he noticed a small device sitting on the ground next to a couch. It was some kind of terminal device, and our boy walked over to take a closer look. He touched the surface of the thing carefully with his hand. To his surprise, the terminal still worked somehow. The screen flickered on right away and the words appeared in front of him. The screen said drone standby mode and then it said restarting. Just then, a holographic projection suddenly activated above the terminal. A blonde woman in a futuristic outfit appeared in the air right in front of him. She greeted him with a calm voice and said hello and welcome guest of Terminal Station 04. Lu Feng was shocked by what he was seeing in front of him. It looks like a hologram, perhaps some kind of virtual reality system from the old days, and it's using a common language like him. Our boy Lu Sheng was standing there in front of the holographic woman and staring at her in shock. He confirmed that she was actually speaking the same language as him. The woman calmly explained that it was not magic at all. The AI told him her name was Ellie. She confirmed that she was indeed an AI, and she offered to help him with anything he needed right away. Lu Sheng asked her for the latest news from this world. The AI happily connected to the network for him in a few seconds. She started accessing something called Skynet from her core. The young man was floored by the size of the display in front of him. He saw data on spatial rifts everywhere on the screen. He even discovered something shocking on the historical records. The world's first martial artist had been born in the ancient Chinese kingdom long ago. The detail matched his own world's history exactly down to the year. Then it suddenly hit him out of nowhere. This place was not a parallel universe, and it was not some other world either. This was actually his world, but 10,000 years into the future from his own time. The young man could not believe what he was seeing on the screen. The AI pulled up his personal records on the display next. The screen showed his name as Lu Sheng, and it said he was born in year 207 MC. Then it showed his photo right next to the data. Our boy was stunned to see his own face staring back at him from the hologram. But just then she hit an access-denied wall on the system. She asked him for identity verification before she could continue. Lu Sheng didn't have any registered method on the system. Ellie bit hard on his finger and took a blood sample for testing. Ellie analyzed the blood sample carefully. Then something unexpected suddenly triggered inside her core. Project Fireseed initiated on the screen in red letters. Ellie's eyes turned bright red on the hologram. She connected to some kind of core system in the network. Her entire demeanor shifted right in front of our boy. She then showed him his future biography on the display. The young man read through the details one by one. He had been the best student in his entire school back in the day. He had graduated from school. Then he became a pharmacist for a few years. 3 years later, he joined the military like a lot of other young men. He rose up to the rank of lieutenant in the Southern Division. He had died at the age of 37 in the field. Our boy was shaken to his core by the entire record in front of him. His whole future trajectory was mediocre at best. But then a realization fired through his head all at once. If he had already changed things by becoming stronger right now, then the future should change too because of it. The trajectory shown on the screen matched his life up to this point exactly. This meant that whatever he did differently from here on out was going to rewrite the record completely. The young man started feeling a fire build up inside his chest. He said he was going to surpass those results for sure this time. Our boy was not going to just be some nobody pharmacist who died at 23 in some random war. His name Lu Sheng was going to be one that everyone in the world knew about. Our boy Lu Sheng came back home and sat down at the breakfast table. He was already wearing his full school uniform from head to toe. He wasn't wearing his school uniform, but his mother was confused when she saw him in the kitchen. She asked the young man why he had bothered changing his clothes if he didn't even have school today. Lu Sheng calmly told her that his teacher had approved him to study from home from now on. The whole answer threw both his mother and his sister off completely. Neither of them had ever heard about this so-called option before. Our boy finished his breakfast quickly at the table. He told them he was heading back to his room to keep training in private. His mother cheerfully told him to keep up the enthusiasm with his studies. But the moment he left the breakfast table, his sister muttered something quietly to herself. She said her brother had been changing more and more every single day. He was no longer the fool that he used to be at school. The young man closed the door of his room behind him right away. Just then his phone suddenly started ringing on the desk. It was his teacher Zheng calling him from school. The guy told him that his scholarship money had finally arrived at the office. He should drop by the school in the afternoon to pick up the cash. The teacher also pressed our boy on why he had skipped class today. They were supposed to discuss his academic schedule together, but Lu Sheng simply replied that he had no time left to waste. After hanging up the phone, our boy made his resolve clear inside his head. He thinks to himself that he didn't have the luxury of worrying about how being strong might paint a target on his back. He wanted to display his power to its fullest. He wanted to shock everyone in his city. He wanted to use that talent to attract more resources to himself. The young man had to reach the peak as fast as humanly possible, because only then would he be able to find a way to change the future for everyone. So Lu Sheng called up Ellie, his future AI assistant on the system. He told her to pull every cultivation method and reflection and martial arts note that he had clearance for. Ellie returned 465,751 results back to him on the screen. The number was way too many for him to handle. But our boy immediately told her to filter the whole list down to the most worthwhile techniques. After filtering and sorting through everything, Ellie delivered exactly 3 results to the screen. The young man realized these were the best techniques that humanity had produced across all 10,000 years of history. The first technique was the Stellar Body Refining Technique Introductory Volume. The thing was created by Wang Yu, and the guy was a rank I powerhouse of the World Martial Alliance. The second technique was the Natural Breathing Technique Introductory Volume. It was created by Yang Yizhou, and the guy was a rank 2 powerhouse himself. The third technique was the Crystal Visualization Technique Introductory Volume. It was created by Duan Yifeng, who was also a rank 2 powerhouse. All 3 of them had been preserved inside something called Project Fireseed. Lu Sheng could barely believe his own eyes at the screen in front of him. In his current era, the strongest martial artist alive was no higher than rank 8 right now. Our boy understood the situation now. The powerhouses of the future World Martial Alliance must have foreseen their own fate years ago. They were unable to escape the apocalypse coming for them. But what none of them could ever have predicted was the truth. The one who would inherit their fire was not someone from their future. It would be Lu Sheng instead. The young man was a boy who had lived long before any of them were even born. Our boy started with the Stellar Body Refining Technique first. The manual on the screen described it as turning the human body into a miniature universe. He condensed his heart and his mind down to every single cell in his body. He visualized each cell transforming into a tiny star. He visualized his blood turning into a burning galaxy inside his veins. He visualized his inner body becoming a boundless and ever-shifting star field. The technique started refining his muscle density to terrifying levels right away. His defense and his strength climbed beyond human limits in just a few minutes. His vitality blazed like a star, as majestic as the Milky Way itself. When Lu Sheng opened his eyes, panting on the floor, he realized something. There was simply no comparison between the two of them at all. Next, the young man moved on to the natural breathing technique on the screen. Its very first stage was called fire breathing on the manual. The moment he completed the first breath, flames seemed to ignite from inside his own body. His blood felt like it was boiling in his veins. Our boy realized this was only the first of many elemental breathing techniques, still waiting to be unlocked at higher ranks. Finally, Lu Sheng opened the crystal visualization technique on the screen. It was meant to purify his mind and reinforce his will. It would also touch the most mysterious part of spiritual power in martial arts cultivation. He gave the technique a try right there in his room, but the moment he activated the thing, his consciousness was suddenly pulled straight into a mindscape. He met a strange white-haired version of himself inside the inner world. The technique taught him that mystical power was extremely important in martial arts cultivation. A strong-willed cultivator could be far stronger than even mid-rank fighters who didn't understand spiritual training. But our boy had no idea how to actually train this part of himself yet, so he decided he was just going to have to figure it out slowly over time. When he finally opened his eyes back in reality, the young man was drenched in foul-smelling sweat. He was exhausted in a way that didn't feel anything like a normal dream at all. He noticed that training in the mindscape clearly affected his real body too. On top of that, the combined effects of the stellar body refining technique and the natural breathing technique had actually forced impurities out of his pores. Our boy's cultivation was now climbing at breakneck speed. After Teacher Zhang's call from earlier, our boy Lu Sheng headed back to Baihei High School to pick up his scholarship money. Teacher sighed when he saw him walk into his office. He told the young man to at least give his a heads up the next time he decided not to come in for class. He asked him to drop by the school at least once a week from now on. Lu Sheng simply apologized for the trouble he had caused. He agreed to his request and walked right out of the office. But the moment he left the room, Teacher Zhang stared after him with a strange look on his face. He thinks to himself that it had only been 2 days since the last time, and he already couldn't get a real grasp on this kid anymore at all. On the way out of the school, our boy took a quiet moment to himself in the hallway. He appreciated the fact that the scholarship money in his hand was not just some small handout from the school, but the young man didn't have the luxury of dwelling on gratitude right now. His attention was already locked onto the next problem in front of him. He had pulled the muscle and blood-strengthening decoction from the fireseed repository earlier today. Lu Sheng explained the situation to himself in his head. No matter how simple a tonic looked on paper, it still required professional medicinal equipment to brew properly. What the young man didn't expect was just how badly his plan was going to go. At the Daikao Medicinal Hall, the bearded owner laughed straight in his face. He said no one in their right mind would ever rent theirs out to some random kid. Then he flat out told Lu Sheng to get lost from the shop. Our boy walked out of the place with a heavy sigh. He noted to himself that this was already the 7th establishment to reject him today. He was about to give up on the whole rental idea altogether at this point. He had already bought enough raw ingredients to brew several batches of the decoction. The shop was tucked into a remote corner of the street he hadn't even noticed before. The place was a medicinal hall called Jingshan. Lu Sheng thinks to himself that for a store hidden away in such a far-out spot, things might just be a little different inside. Our boy pushed the door open with a quiet hello to the staff, but the blonde clerk behind the counter barely looked up at him. The guy lazily told the young man to grab whatever he wanted and bring it over to pay. When Lu Sheng tried to clarify that he wasn't even here to buy anything, the clerk warned him not to even think about shoplifting. Our boy frowned at the response and realized something strange about the place. Every other medicinal hall he had visited had at least put on a polite show for their customers, but this guy didn't seem to care whether he got robbed or not. A quick glance over the counter revealed why right away. So Lu Sheng cut straight to the point with the guy. He asked whether the medicinal hall had an alchemical lab on the property. He reminded the young man that this was a place for customers to buy tonics and nothing else. But our boy simply smiled at him and told the guy that if they did have one, he had a serious business proposition. After a short negotiation between the two of them, the deal was sealed quickly. Then he ushered Lu Sheng into a back room of the shop. He told him to help himself to the equipment inside. Our boy pulled on a lab coat and took a deep breath. He announced to himself that this was tonic-making attempt number 1. He pulled out one mutant assassin lizard from his bag. He measured out a portion of liquefied condensed boldenone for the mix. He grabbed a high-powered laser to extract the distinctive active ions from the raw material. When it was all done, the muscle and blood-strengthening decoction was sitting right in front of him. The thing was glowing softly in the light of the lab. He realized he was now holding a real tonic from 10,000 years in the future. But the young man told himself there was only one real way to confirm whether the thing actually worked. For a moment, nothing happened to him at all. Lu Sheng wondered if he might have failed the brew somehow, but then his entire body suddenly exploded in pain from head to toe. He screamed out loud as the decoction tore through every part of him. The agony was so intense that it felt like his bones were being rewritten from the inside out. When the wave finally passed, our boy collapsed to the floor, drenched in sweat. What he felt next left him in complete disbelief. The decoction had not only restored every drop of vitality he had burned through by advancing his cultivation too quickly, it had actually given him noticeably more vitality than he had before the brew. On top of that, his muscle density had been forcibly enhanced as a side benefit. The young man realized that this single low-tier tonic was the crystallization of 10,000 years of accumulated martial arts wisdom. But before our boy could fully savor the moment, some frantic knocking erupted on the lab door. The blonde clerk was shouting through the door from the other side. He said there was no time to explain anything right now. The boss had come back to the shop without warning, and apparently the boss had no idea any of this was even happening here. After our boy Lu Sheng escaped from the lab through the back entrance, the woman he had been hiding from finally walked back into her own shop. Her name was Miss He, and she was the boss of Xingshan Medicinal Hall. She immediately noticed something was wrong with the place. But as Miss He scanned the leftover setup on the counter, she realized something strange right away. She immediately noticed something was wrong with the place. She ended up having to wipe down all the equipment and disinfect the table herself. Her useless clerk Ma Fei had done basically nothing for her while she was away. But as Miss He scanned the leftover setup on the counter, she realized something strange right away. Curious about the whole situation, Miss He chuckled to herself in the lab. She thinks that another wannabe alchemist had clearly been chasing pipe dreams in her shop, but Miss He caught herself mid-thought right there. She sighed and admitted something quietly to herself, placing her own family's last hopes on borrowing some Mr. Zhang's prescription was essentially the exact same thing she was doing right now, so she decided to humor her own curiosity and inspect the leftover decoction at the counter. She studied its color carefully under the light. She smelled it slowly. She watched how it reacted on her own skin too. Her eyes widened in shock at what she saw. She realized that the smell and the texture and the reaction all matched the description of a legendary medicinal prescription. The thing was something she had only ever heard whispers about before in the industry. The scene cuts to outside the shop where Ma Fei was dragging his suitcases away from the hall. The guy was sobbing about how his goddess and his eternal destiny were slipping away from him forever. But just as he resigned himself to his exile from the shop, Miss He came bursting out the front door. She was screaming his name and ordering him to stop right there on the street. Ma Fei completely misread the moment between the two of them. He instantly declared that he had known all along she truly cared for him deep down. But Miss He cut him off right away. She grabbed him by the collar with one hand and demanded to know exactly who had used her alchemical lab. She told the guy that if he could find that person, she would not only take him back, she would also double his pay on the spot. Ma Fei was suddenly on top of the world again. He scrambled for his phone and told her he had the contact saved. While Ma Fei was searching through his phone, Miss He explained the situation to herself in her head. She realized just how massive a discovery she had stumbled onto by accident. On top of that, the decoction had clear side benefits too. It improved skin whitening and complexion. The raw ingredients added up to under $5,000 per batch. She told herself that this was not just a good tonic, it was a world-class one, and it was the He family's one shot at rising from the ashes. But back at home, our boy was completely unaware of any of this happening across town. The young man was deep in cultivation inside his room. The stellar body refining technique was awakening potential in his body that he could barely comprehend. He realized that at this rate, he might genuinely be able to ignite a real star inside his own flesh someday. His vitality was climbing fast thanks to the muscle and blood strengthening decoction. Lu Sheng noted that he had brewed exactly 12 portions of the decoction at the lab, but even rationing 2 per day for fatigue management, his supply was only going to last about 6 more days. After that, he was going to need to make more soon. That was when his phone suddenly started ringing on the desk. Our boy recognized the number on the screen as the manager from that medicinal hall earlier. He decided he might as well just answer the call. Ignoring her would only push her to track him down in person somehow. Miss He introduced herself politely and called him master right away. She proposed a formal collaboration to put his prescription into production at her shop. Lu Sheng calmly told her they could meet in 1 week from today, but the moment she heard that, she nearly panicked on the phone. A whole week was unthinkable when something this valuable was on the table for her. The call ended in chaos before she could negotiate a faster meeting. She immediately turned on Ma Fei in front of the shop. She told the guy that from this moment on his single job was to hunt this master down for her. She offered him $10,000 per day saved if he could locate the man within 6 days. Ma Fei nearly exploded with pure excitement at the deal. But before she let him run off, he hesitated and warned her about something. He said she might want to brace herself first for the truth. The person who had borrowed the lab was under 20 years old somehow. From his appearance, he looked like nothing more than a regular high school student. Miss He froze on the spot at the news. She asked the guy in pure disbelief whether a student could really be the alchemical master she had been chasing. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng had stopped cultivating at home for the day. The young man stepped into a much darker kind of test. These were the lingering remnants of fallen martial artists who had been turned into mindless undead. Our boy locked eyes on his target for the day in the distance. The thing was a rank 4 spirit zombie standing over a pile of debris. He told himself that if he, as a rank 1 martial artist, could take down a rank 4 today, that would be all the proof he needed. It would show how far his cultivation had really come in this short time. The fight started the instant the creature spotted him on the field. The young man realized right away that its raw force was at least twice his own at full power. He couldn't afford to take its blows head-on at all. The monster slammed down with terrifying weight. One of its hits nearly put our boy down on the ground. But Lu Sheng adapted quickly to the situation. He circled to its dead side carefully. He exploited the gap left by its missing arm on the body. Then he unleashed a brutal kick into the side. With one final strike, the spirit dissipated into purple smoke in the air. The young man stood over the dispersed corpse on the ground. He explained to himself what he had just fought today. These weren't simple monsters at all. They were the spirits of warriors who had died defending the city long ago. Their souls had been stripped down until only muscle memory remained. Our boy realized the only reason he was able to beat this one was because of 2 things. The thing had lost its intelligence and it had lost one of its arms. At full capacity, the fight would have been completely beyond him. But Lu Sheng also noted how far he had come in such a short time. In just 1 week, he had absorbed the stellar body refining technique and the natural breathing technique and the crystal visualization technique. The young man realized that if he fused the secret art of stellar body refining with the breath rhythm of natural breathing, he could output massive power. The output would not be just several times higher than normal. He decided on the spot to christen this new combined attack. He called the move Stellar Impact. Soon after that fight, our boy headed to a public assessment center across town. He wanted to officially measure how far his stats had actually climbed. The receptionist greeted him warmly at the front desk. She noted that he was already on his 2nd visit this month. That was unusually frequent for someone like him. But she chalked it up to school exam season and let him into room 206 down the hall. Lu Sheng told himself that if he weren't improving this fast, he wouldn't bother coming so often. He stepped onto the vitality scanner first in the room. The readout came back at 15.632 on the screen. The young man realized his vitality had jumped by 60% in just over a week. He told himself that combining 10,000-year-old supreme martial arts techniques with future-tier medicinal tonics should logically produce results this absurd, so he probably shouldn't even be surprised by the number anymore. Next came the combat power test in the room. Our boy threw a single punch into the impact dummy. The readout flashed 3,037 on the screen. The number was more than twice the standard requirement for his rank. He wondered for a moment whether his fist technique was artificially inflating the number somehow. But then he stopped himself mid-thought. So Lu Sheng reset his stance and focused his energy. He unleashed a full stellar impact directly into the machine in front of him. The room flashed bright blue, and the dummy was left in ruins on the floor. The oblivious receptionist simply asked if he was done. She told him to do well on his exams and sent him on his way. But our boy wasn't unnoticed for long after that. As he walked out of the assessment center, 2 girls from a nearby martial arts academy spotted him. The first was senior sister Ni, and the second was her flame-haired junior. The junior remarked to her that he was surprisingly handsome for an ordinary-looking student. But senior sister Ni dismissed him without any hesitation at all. She told the junior that no matter how good-looking a normal high schooler was, looks didn't matter in their society. She warned her junior once more not to get cocky over outscoring an ordinary person like him. Don't spend all day becoming complacent just because of a little bit of your own achievement. But the junior pouted at her senior and insisted on something. She just wanted to compare her own assessment scores against his to confirm her hard work was paying off. The receptionist handed over the tablet to them. The screen confirmed what they had already assumed about him. Yes, Lu Sheng was just a student. But the moment senior sister Ni's eyes actually scanned the real numbers on his sheet, her entire expression cracked open. She froze mid-sentence at the desk. She was completely unable to process what she was seeing on the screen. Back at the training center, the staff are completely losing it. The redhead girl stared at the evaluation machine in utter astonishment, convinced that it was broken. But the unit was just serviced yesterday, which means the crazy numbers on the screen are actually real. She immediately starts barking orders at every staff member nearby. She tells them to pull every record and to contact every student in the district. She also tells them to find this kid no matter what. His name is Lu Sheng, and she swears she's going to track him down. Meanwhile, our boy Lu Sheng is just cruising in the passenger seat of some random old man's car. He smiles politely while the uncle keeps rambling about wanting to introduce him to his daughter someday. Lu Sheng plays it cool, but inside he feels relieved that he kept his mouth shut about where he is actually heading. He is on his way to the martial artist certification assessment. He thinks that if the old man knew, the old man would think he is crazy. Because back home, his combat power index was already over 150. The thing is, the official martial arts association machines are way stricter than the cheap civilian models. So our boy figures his real number will land a bit lower than what he is used to. Either way, he feels quietly excited because, for the first time in his life, he is about to get a real reading on his true abilities. He arrives at the Martial Arts Association building. He fills out the form at the front desk and gets sent up to room B229. The line is absolutely brutal. Most of the candidates here are pushing 28 and they all look like hardened applicants. Our hero is one of the youngest in the room. Just then he notices a strikingly pretty girl who looks even younger than him, and she is drawing whispers from everyone around her. Then the door bangs open. A massive mountain-sized man shoves his way through the crowd. The guy is twice the width of a normal person. He locks eyes on Lu Sheng and tries to bully his way to the front. They say the man's name is Zhao Changfeng, and he is registered for the Rank 3 Martial Artist certification. The whole room goes silent. Rank 3 martial artists are rare. In the entire city of Baiwei, there are only about 10 of them, and the privileges that come with the title are huge. Zhao Changfeng steps up for his assessment. His vitality reading comes in at 107. That is already past the Rank 3 threshold. The room gasps. Then comes the combat power test. He winds up and throws a single punch at the testing machine. The screen explodes with the number 10,831. The official congratulates him on the spot. He grants him official Rank 3 status with a monthly stipend of 30,000 plus full Baiwei Martial Arts Association credentials. Whispers fly around the crowd. People start saying this guy is not even a martial artist anymore and he is more like a Terminator. Then our boy Lu Sheng calmly steps forward and asks if he can go next. The official raises an eyebrow. He thinks that the kid just watched a Rank 3 monster put on a show, and his heart rate did not even twitch. They start with the vitality test first. The reading climbs higher and higher. It locks in at 15.7. The numbers freeze the entire room. A 17-year-old has no business sitting at that level. That is full Rank 2 martial artist territory. The official tries to be kind and tells Lu Sheng not to let Zhao Changfeng's earlier punch shake him. He says the young man can retake the combat power test as many times as he needs. Our hero just smiles and shakes his head. He tells him one time will be enough. He winds up. A galaxy of purple light explodes around his fist. It looks stellar. Zhao Changfeng's smug grin drops off his face. The pretty girl's eyes go wide. And the entire assessment hall lights up with a single word as his fist crashes down. The word is impact. Lu Sheng's fist slams into the assessment machine. The numbers on the screen do not just climb, they explode. The reading hits 15,709. The entire room freezes. That is a combat power index 10 times the threshold for a rank 1 martial artist. Our boy quietly does the math in his head. He thinks that between his fist technique breakthrough and his stellar impact and the natural breathing method he has been grinding, the boost makes perfect sense. So this, he realizes, is what real martial arts actually feels like. The poor official tries to stammer out a congratulations on passing the rank 1 assessment, but he catches himself. Lu Shang's numbers have already blown past rank 1, and past rank 2, and past everything this office is even authorized to certify. The official apologizes and promises to fast-track the report straight up the association ladder. Our hero, the most chill 17-year-old in the building, just blinks and asks if that means he can go home now. He bolts before the bureaucracy can chain him to a desk. But on the way out, a shadow drops down in front of him. It is Zhao Shangfeng, the rank 3 mountain of muscle from earlier. Everyone in the hallway holds their breath. They are fully expecting a beatdown. Instead, Zhao Shangfeng grins and reaches out and politely asks for his name. The rank 3 monster wants to be friends. Just then the floodgates open. Mr. Wang, Mr. Whoever, every recruiter and bystander in the building swarms our boy. They want handshakes, photos, contracts, anything they can get. He nopes out of there so fast they are still chasing him through the lobby. Outside, his little sister Qinshe is hanging around the entrance with 2 classmates. One of them is Feng Fanfan, who insists everyone call her Rice. The other is a quieter friend named Xu Nuo. The girls are there to cheer on their club's senior Yang Yuan, who came to take the same assessment. The classmates instantly start fawning over how handsome brother Lu is. They completely betray whatever Qinshe had been telling them about him. Qinshe is furious. Our boy plays it cool. He says hi, says bye, and slips away before his sister can interrogate him about why he is anywhere near the Martial Arts Association. Just then, senior sister Yang Yuan walks out of the building. She looks pale and rattled and completely defeated. She tells them her assessment got suspended because someone inside caused an incident the entire association is still scrambling over. She starts describing him in pure horror. She says he is a guy her own age with a vitality of 15.7 and a combat power past 15,000. She says he is a literal demon in human skin. She tells them that after watching that monster, she realized her own talent is a joke. The girls ask for the monster's name. Yang Yuan tells them the name is Lu Shang, and Qinshe freezes mid-bite of her ice cream. She wonders if her big brother could really be the monster Yang Yuan just described. Meanwhile, our boy is already across town. He is ignoring incoming calls from the Mongolian Martial Arts Academy. They are supposedly the second strongest academy in the region, and apparently they are hunting for him. He does not care. He thinks that future tier martial arts manuals barely fetch 800,000 in his black market network anyway. And getting tied down by an academy is the last thing he needs right now. Back at his apartment, he activates his optical mind interface and pulls up his own biography from the future archive. The new timeline reads completely differently from before. It says he becomes a rank 1 martial artist at 18. He wins gold medals across the board at the Dongning Provincial Prodigy Camp. He spends 3 years at Dongning University. After that, he goes into military service and retires honorably as a captain. He founds his own martial arts academy in Bayou City. He reaches rank 4 by 38. He attempts a breakthrough to rank 7, and finally he gets killed in a monster ambush in Bayou City at 47. The future has rewritten itself. The young man grins. The future can be changed. But then his smile drops. Because no, this is nowhere near enough. In the grand scope of mankind's future, a rank 6 lifespan ending at 47 is still meaningless. Even a rank 7 master, and a rank 8 grandmaster, and a rank 9 martial sage are all helpless against what is coming in 10,000 years. He thinks that if he wants to shift the fate of all mankind and rewrite the ending, he will have to climb past every ceiling the world has ever known. He needs to push past rank 10 and rank 11. He needs to reach the peaks of martial arts that legends barely whisper about. He thinks that even if it is just a faint glimmer of hope, and even if no one has ever made it that far, he will keep going forward. He has already chosen this path. He will not look back. Across town at the Bayou Martial Arts Association, Chairman Xiao Yume is hunched over a calligraphy desk with a brush in hand. He is painting the character for God in slow meditative strokes. His frustration boils over, and he crushes the paper in his fist. He's a peak rank 4 martial artist, and he has been stuck at this ceiling for years. He keeps hoping that calligraphy might quiet his mind enough to finally break into rank 5. It is not working. He mutters that if only the association would actually invest in real talent the way they should, he would not be wasting his afternoons staring at brushstrokes. He thinks that he has been trapped at this rank for too long. Just then, his subordinate bursts into the room without knocking. The man is panicking about an emergency at the assessment center. Chairman Xiao snaps at him for forgetting basic manners, but then the man stammers out the actual news. He says an 18-year-old kid just walked into the office and scored a vitality reading of 15.7. He says the kid threw a single punch that registered a combat power index over 15,000. Chairman Xiao demands the recording on the spot. The examiners replay Lu Sheng's punch frame by frame, and the whole room loses it. That is not a rank 1 strike, that is a perfection stage fist technique. It is the kind that only about 10 martial artists in the entire world have ever mastered. The math does not even add up. With that technique alone, a normal fighter should top out around 6,000 CPI. Our boy more than doubled it. The only possible explanation hits the room like a slap. They realize this kid has to be a gifted martial artist. That is the 1 in a million class of cultivators born with rare innate talents that explode the moment their power awakens. They are legends. He is the kind of student a city like Bayou might produce once in a generation, if ever. Chairman Xiao starts laughing in a half-hysterical way. He immediately tells his driver to bring the car around. He says he is heading to Lu Sheng's house in person to personally thank the parents for the favor of bringing this kid into the world. But Chairman Xiao is not the only one moving fast. At the same moment, the gorgeous redhead from earlier has already dispatched her people. Her assistants question why the academy is chasing a kid from such an average household. Ni Shuang shuts them down sharply. She tells them he is not as ordinary as they think. Then she gets a phone call confirming Chairman Xiao is already on his way. Ni Shuang shuns for him. She mutters that she did not expect him to be this fast. She orders her staff to grab luxury gifts suitable for parents and a teenage girl. Game on. Meanwhile, our boy Lu Sheng is at home grinding through push-ups. He is completely unaware that 2 of the most powerful martial arts factions in Bayou are racing toward his front door. Qin She shouts up the stairs that he has visitors. She also calls him Big Brother for the first time in ages, and he files that away with a small smile. He walks downstairs and finds his entire living room turned into a diplomatic summit. Chairman Xiao is on one couch. Ni Shuang is on another. His stunned parents are wedged in the middle. A mountain of gifts is piled around them. Chairman Xiao cuts to the chase. He says on behalf of the Bayou Martial Arts Association, he officially certifies Lu Sheng as a rank 1 martial artist. But since his combat power has already blown past rank 2 standard, the association will pay his monthly stipend at the rank 2 rate. They will also throw in a $1 million bonus delivered today as a token of encouragement. Lu Sheng's father almost passes out. The mother demands someone pinch her. Our hero just nods politely. He already knows nothing in this world is free. He calmly asks the chairman what the association actually wants in return. He says they want him to attend the Dongning Provincial Prodigy training camp. Chairman Xiao smiles. Ni Shuang immediately steps in to warn him off. It is the same camp Lu Sheng saw listed in his rewritten future biography just hours ago. She says that camp gathers the top martial arts geniuses from the entire province, and most of them come back broken. She tells him a senior brother from her own academy went inspirited and full of vigor and returned utterly defeated. He faded into the background for the rest of his career. She insists that with Lu Sheng's talent, there is no reason to risk being someone else's stepping stone. Chairman Xiao acknowledges the camp is brutal. He says it is a place where true geniuses collide and most get buried. But he says our boy is different. He thinks that with his proficiency, he will not just survive Dongning. He will come out the other side as Baiwei's top dog. The chairman extends his hand and promises he will respect whatever decision Lu Sheng makes. Our hero smiles. He tells the chairman that the chairman is right. He says he too believes something. He has yet to reach his limit. After dropping the bomb about the Prodigy training camp, Chairman Zhao stands up to leave. He tells Lu Sheng he will swing by in 2 days to pick him up. He promises not to disturb the family any further. Once he is gone, the room belongs to Ni Shuang. Our boy folds his arms and tells her it is her turn to explain why she actually came. The redhead's heart skips a beat. She catches herself thinking that this kid really does have a future. Then she gets to the point. She wants Lu Sheng to join Hongchuan Martial Arts Academy as an honorary disciple. She lays it out like a sales pitch. She says it is basically the same as being a real disciple, except our boy can come and go whenever he wants. She tells him he owes nothing and gets full access to every class and every piece of equipment and every resource the academy has. She also throws in medical treatment on demand. From her side, the math is obvious. She thinks that if a future heavyweight like him is publicly tied to Hongchuan, no other martial arts academy in Baiwei would dare cross them. Lu Sheng listens and considers it for about 2 seconds. Then he declines. Ni Shuang panics and starts negotiating. She says the terms can change and he should not be hasty. But our hero calmly explains his thinking. He says he has every intention of training at Hongchuan eventually since it is close to his home. He just does not need it right now. He tells her if she insists, he can refuse outright. But if she lets him do this on his own terms, he will show up at Hongchuan when the time is right. Ni Shuang sighs and accepts. She tells him fine, but the honorary title has to be exclusive to Hongchuan. She says she will have his monthly allowance of around $100,000 delivered straight to the house starting tomorrow. Then she is gone. The second the door closes, Lu Sheng's parents implode. His dad grabs his hand and tells him through tears that he will not have to work the night shift anymore. His mom will not have to take labor jobs either. Our boy smiles and tells them both gently that they can stop pushing themselves so hard now. He is earning real money on his own terms. Meanwhile, across town at Xingshen Medicinal Hall, a sharp-looking woman named Miss He has been losing her mind for an entire week. The mystery alchemist she has been hunting created a tonic that violates every rule of the industry. It is more potent than a grade 1 stage 5 tonic with 0 negative side effects. That is the kind a high-end alchemist usually cannot avoid. On top of that, it stacks more than a dozen supplementary effects. By itself, this should put it at grade 3. A grade 3 tonic normally goes for several $100,000. This one was selling for under $3,000. She thinks that whoever made this is an epoch-making alchemist, and she needs to find them immediately. Her assistant Lim finally bursts in with a screen. She tells her she has found the master. Miss He looks at the screen. The screen is showing a news broadcast about the unparalleled Prodigy who lit up the Baiwei Martial Arts Association assessment. He is 18 years old with vitality at rank 2 standard and combat power exceeding rank 3. Her assistant points at the photo. She tells her that is him and he is currently studying at Baiwei High School. Miss He's jaw drops. She wonders if the genius alchemist she has been hunting could really be just a student. The scene shifts to Shuhai City and Lone Fox Mountain. Mist rolls through the trees and a white pigeon coos from a branch. Just then a streak of blue light tears through the forest at impossible speed and snatches it out of the air. He skids to a stop and grins. He thinks that he never imagined stellar impact could be combined with a body technique like this. He realizes that stacking the 4 times power multiplier of stellar impact onto the body method he absorbed in his dreams has pushed his speed to roughly 5 times that of a regular rank 2 martial artist. He christens the new technique on the spot. He calls it Cloud Chasing Step. He climbs the mountain to the summit just in time for sunset and starts running through the natural breathing technique. With every breath, he draws raw energy from the air around him. It refills his stamina and wakes up dormant capacity in his own body. He can feel the subtle shifts in everything alive around him. He senses the strange invisible thread connecting heaven and earth. His vitality jumps another full step. Stellar impact powers up alongside it, and now hits roughly 6 times the force of a base strike. This whole trip was supposed to be a routine herb run, but the mountain itself just handed him an unexpected cultivation breakthrough. He never imagined the natural breathing method could push him this far this fast. The wild herbs growing on this mountain are also way stronger than anything modern alchemists have cataloged. Their true medicinal value has not been touched in this era. He thinks that without the system info he carried back from the future, No one in this time would even know what they are looking at. He has already cleared the entire herb bed at the base of the mountain. By the rules of his future era knowledge, those plants should have been preserved species by now. Time to test out cloud-chasing step on the way down. He blurs down the mountain in a streak of green light. He arrives at the base and meets up with the local herb dealer who took his order earlier. The man cheerfully confirms everything is ready. He says the sun lotus grass and the dew frost leaf and all of it is freshly harvested and all premium quality. He tells him 5,000 for the lot. Our boy tells him he will take 10 of each. The dealer suddenly sweats and tries to renegotiate. He says actually it is not 500 apiece, but 1,000. He also tells our hero he is going to have to buy out every single medicinal herb in the shop. The herb dealer at the base of Lone Fox Mountain has flipped on Lu Sheng. 500 apiece becomes 1,000. And on top of that, the kid is going to buy out the entire shop. Our boy raises an eyebrow and asks what he means by that. The dealer leans in with a smirk and confirms what Lu Sheng already suspected. He says the kid is not from Shuhai City. Now that he is here, he plays by their rules. Just then all the friendly herb sellers around the clearing are not so friendly anymore. They emerge from the trees one by one and flex their tattooed arms. Every single one of them is a rank 1 martial artist, and there are no surveillance cameras out here in the woods. The leader sneers that, even if our boy calls the police, no one is going to take an outsider's word over an entire local crew. He tells him to just be a good boy, otherwise do not blame them for getting tough on him. Our hero listens to the whole speech. He calmly walks over to a boulder and casually clenches his fist around a chunk of it. The stone disintegrates into powder between his fingers. The clearing goes dead silent. Every dealer freezes mid-laugh and half of them are already losing color in their faces. Lu Sheng turns toward them with his faintly glowing eyes. He asks them the question that hangs in the air like a guillotine. He asks if it is time for them to acknowledge defeat. The herbs hit the dirt. The men hit their knees. They start screaming, "Big bro," and then "Father," and they say they were blind and they are really sorry. Our boy tells them flatly that since they do not want to continue the sale, he will be taking the herbs anyway. Before he leaves, he hands them one piece of free advice. He tells them business should be built on honesty and not on whether your customer looks young or old. The dealers shake like leaves and swear on their lives that they will turn over a new leaf. Some kid in the back mutters that students these days are absurdly strong. The leader whispers that anyone who can grind stone into powder with a base hand has to be rank 3 minimum. Our hero pockets every herb in the place for free and walks off whistling. He has all the ingredients he needs. Now it is time to prep for the camp. The next day, a black car pulls up at the Dongning Province Prodigy training camp. Lu Sheng steps out with a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. He looks at the building and immediately notes that it does not look like a training facility. It looks more like a military base. Inside, the students are clustered into city-by-city factions, and they are all wearing official martial artist badges. Our boy does not have one. He forgot it on his mother's display shelf at home. A burly, well-dressed older student named Yu Lei walks up and asks where he is from. Lu Sheng tells him Baihei City. He says something held him up, so he is late. The room goes quiet for a beat. They start whispering about Baihei. They say the other delegations already entered yesterday and left him behind. Then the realization spreads. They figure out this is the Lu Sheng the Baihei chairman was talking about. The whispers explode. They start gossiping that this is the kid with the chairman's personal favor. People wonder out loud how many bribes he gave to get a recommendation since Bai City has not even sent representatives in years. Yu Lei silences the gossipers and quickly briefs our boy. He tells him to go in with the Qingyuan City delegation. He says to dump his luggage on the floor inside and there will be staff to collect it later. He says the entrance ceremony goes in batches, the doors close behind them, and the moment Lu Sheng steps onto the floor, chains rattle. The platform tilts. The whole group plunges through a trapdoor, and they are all screaming. There is no entrance ceremony. This is the entrance assessment. The students slam onto the floor of an underground corridor. A speaker crackles overhead. The voice says the mission is simple. They have to reach the exit on the opposite end of the corridor on their own. Those who succeed will pass. Those who fail can pack their bags and go home. The voice cuts out. The students explode in panic. Our boy pulls himself up and dusts off. He feels something in the air. He realizes this is not an ordinary corridor. There are dark psychic shadows lurking ahead and glowing red eyes in the dark. He thinks that these are psychic powers, just like the kind you read about in novels, and they are real. A smug, well-groomed guy named Lin Xiaoyu of the Qingyuan delegation strolls forward, and he is completely unfazed. He already knew about the trap, and he did not warn the rest of his own city. His own faction lights into him. He waves them off coldly and mocks them for not figuring out the entrance themselves. He tells them not to go calling themselves geniuses from Qingyuan City when they get out because they will sully his reputation. His delegation seethes. But eventually a girl steps in to play peacekeeper. She tells them they are all from the same city, and the entrance assessment is going to be brutal, so they should stand united. Then their eyes land on our boy. He is the lone outsider. He is the Baihei kid with no badge. He tell him it would just be so nice of him to volunteer as their lab rat. He want him to go in first and scout the area and check for traps. Our hero listens and says nothing and starts walking. He block his path. He tell him if he is not going in, then he should step aside. He calls him Bei Kid and tells him to work with them, and King Yuan might just consider giving him a hand. Lu Sheng turns. The smirk on his face is small. It is cold. It is final. He tells them only cows and sheep form herds. A predator walks alone. Lin Xiaoyu's smirk drops the second the words leave Lu Sheng's mouth. Only cows and sheep form herds. A predator walks alone. The Qingyuan delegation goes ballistic. They start screaming and asking how dare he call them sheep. He tell him they are going to kill him. But our boy has already turned his back and walked off into the corridor. He looks completely uninterested. A few steps in, the lights pulse and the trial activates. The walls hiss open and out roll dozens of pink glowing mechanical puppets. The puppets are the size of refrigerators. They have spider legs and they hum with energy. The students freeze. They start whispering about mechanical puppets. They realize this is not the standard kind either. Even the weakest type here is way beyond what a rank 1 martial artist should be facing. The training camp is not running an entrance exam. The training camp is straight up trying to kill them. Lin Xiaoyu fancies himself the smartest person in the room. He smugly explains the system to his shaken delegation. He says mechanical puppets are fully programmable and customizable for all kinds of high-end martial trials. He says a grade 1 puppet is on par with a rank 1 martial artist, and a top grade 1 can spar with a rank 4. He tells them they cost more to build the higher you go up the chain. He says once activated, they automatically attack the moment a living being gets close. He also notes with a sneer that this is his first time actually seeing them in real life. Then he glances at our boy marching alone into the swarm, and he laughs out loud. He asks if the country bumpkin from Baihe is a retard. He says grade 1 puppets are made of special alloy, and their fists are tough as anything. He says the kid is not even a rank 1 martial artist, and his hands are going to become a retard if he gets punched. A massive grade 1 puppet swings down at Lu Sheng like a wrecking ball. The girl who tried to play peacekeeper earlier shouts a warning. Too late. Our hero catches the fist mid-swing. He holds it, and he pulps it. The puppet's reinforced alloy arm crumples like tinfoil, and sparks spray everywhere. Lu Sheng tilts his head and asks if that is it. He flicks the puppet aside, and it explodes against the wall in a shower of debris. The corridor goes dead silent. The girl beside him gently asks if maybe Lu Sheng is just a real rank 4 monster. Lin Xiaoyu goes pale, and then he immediately starts spinning. He says the puppets must have fooled them. He insists those puppets are not grade 1. He says they are just half-age junk. He calls them wooden practice dummies that look scary, and that is all. Lin Xiaoyu refuses to hear it. He is so committed to his story that he marches forward to demonstrate. He leaps at the next puppet, shouting "Hiya." He spin-kicks the unit and dents it and lands smug. He says he told them so. Behind him, the puppet powers back up and lifts its real fist and swings. Lin Xiaoyu has time for exactly 2 words. He gets blasted across the corridor. He is smoking and half his clothes are vaporized and he is foaming at the mouth. He drags himself up coughing blood. He stammers that those are not grade 1 puppets. He says they are grade 2. Around him, more units start activating, dozens of them with glowing red eyes. The Qingyuan delegation panics. They start asking just what exactly is his rank then. Our boy, meanwhile, has already broken down the trial. He explains half to himself that every mechanical puppet has a core. He says all you have to do is touch the core lightly to deactivate it. He just thinks that there are too many of them. He sighs, he flicks one puppet and its chest cracks and sparks fly and it collapses. Then another, then another. He walks through the swarm like a man bored at a museum. He keeps snapping their cores one after another. He thinks that this is really boring. By the time the delegation catches up, the entire corridor looks like a salvage yard. There is wreckage everywhere. Smoke is rising from 100 shattered puppets. The trial supervisor in the control room is losing his mind. He is screaming and asking what the fuck and saying all the mechanical puppets have malfunctioned. He is asking, didn't they just acquire them? The connection cuts out. They have all been wrecked. They were wrecked by a bunch of kids who should not have been able to destroy grade 2 puppets. Just then, a voice. It sounds calm and amused. The voice asks if the second trial has begun. The voice says he finally found him. The scene shifts to Assessment Hall 7 in the room next door. Another batch of prodigies is in the middle of their own trial. Xia Lin is silver-haired and 18, and she is the psychic-type genius Qing Xiu had been raving about. She calmly raises her hand and detonates the last mechanical puppet in the chamber with a wave of pure mental force. She asks if that is the last one, but before she can even catch her breath, the air shifts. She senses something dangerous coming from outside the wall. It feels like at least rank 3 levels of pressure. She figures it must be a supervisor demonstration or something off-script from the assessment. Just then the door opens. Her supervisors stagger in with pale faces, and they are panicking. They tell her the whole assessment system has been tripped and surveillance feeds are dark and the ground itself just shook. Xia Lin asks what is happening. The supervisor stammers that 2 people are engaged in a fight on the next floor. He says one of them is generating power signatures the system has never logged before. Xia Lin frowns. She wonders why the opponent is a human. She thinks that the assessment targets are supposed to be robots. She pushes psychic feelers through the wall. And across the building, deep inside Corridor 12, our boy Lu Sheng's eye snaps directly toward her. Their gazes lock through solid concrete. Xia Lin gasps and recoils and crashes backward. She tells them to back away. The supervisors slam the door shut. She is drenched in sweat and breathing hard. She thinks that the bolt of fear that gripped her heart is so terrifying. In the control room, Qing Xiu and Lieutenant Colonel Major Qin are in full crisis mode. Surveillance is wrecked and they have no contact with the supervisor instructor. Someone has to physically run a report up to them. Qing Xiu barks for the full registry of every student who entered Corridor 12. The data lands. Her assistant tells her that is not necessary. He says it is just a single name. The name is Lu Sheng. He is from Beihei City. Down in the corridor, the supervisor is a senior martial artist who was supposed to test the strongest applicant of the year. He gets blasted backward by our boy's strike and crashes against the wall. Smoke is rising off his coat. Qingxie gritted his teeth and demanded to know if the boy was a student from Qingyan City. Qingxie asks who he is. Lu Sheng dropped the supervisor to the ground, and dust settled around him. He tells him he is from Beihei City and his name is Lu Sheng. Qingxie stares for a long moment. She says the kid has some nerve. Lu Sheng calmly explains that it is a misunderstanding. He says he genuinely thought the man was part of the assessment, so he did not hold back. Qingxie twitches and decides he has heard enough. She unleashes a counter-strike with everything he has. Our boy sidesteps. He sweeps through it. He stood in front of her with a calm face and faint purple glowing eyes. Qingxie freezes. Qingxie pulls back his fist mid-swing and exhales and bows her head. She says congratulations on passing the entrance assessment, Student Lu. She tells him to go get some rest. She says a member of the staff will lead him to the dorms. Lu Sheng nods, and that is the end of it. Qingxie is left staring at her own report and muttering. She says the kid is really crazy. Major Qin says it is stated in his records that his vitality is only 15.7 and his combat power is 15,000. He asks if that is even possible. He says that is bullshit. Qingxie is beside him. She mutters that she just scanned him with psychic energy and did not sense anything either. She says no combat power and no sort of reaction. Major Qin asks how she plans to deal with that monster. Qingxie stares at the still frame of Lu Sheng's purple glowing fist on the monitor. She says she has not decided. However, she thinks that the stats in his KGS file are definitely no longer accurate. Meanwhile, the man at the center of this entire upheaval has exactly one thing on his mind: lunch. Lu Sheng's stomach rumbles loud enough to echo. The instructor is now extremely respectful. He escorts him to the camp canteen and tells him to eat as much as he wants for his first meal. Our boy grabs a plate, then another. He says this is super delicious and he would like 5 more plates. The instructor's smile cracks. Lu Sheng tells him no, make it 10. Just then, a familiar voice cuts in. The voice asks if he is student Lu Sheng. The girl says she is Yang Yan and she is also a representative from Baihei City. She slides into the seat across from him. He raises an eyebrow and pulls his chicken closer and blocks it. He tells her he is not here to eat her food. He asks if she does not think she is being a bit overly protective of it. Yang Yan laughs and gets to the actual point. She remembers the chairman saying Baihei City did not have a representative in years and now there are 2. She asks what is going on. Lu Sheng tilts his head and asks what points she is talking about. She says you earn them by passing the entrance and then by topping individual assessments throughout the camp. Then she leans in. She tells him that until now there are only 3 people in the entire training camp who have earned points. Our boy asks only 3. He asks how they got their points. She lays it out one by one. The first is Cao Yong. He is a rank 2 gifted martial artist from Yanlin City. He has a stone skin awakening, which means his body hardens to the durability of rock. And the last one is the rarest of the 3. She says this one is rarer than any standard gifted martial artist. It is a mentalist with a psychic awakening. She says this one is supposed to have the strongest abilities and the strongest gift of this year's training camp. Right as Yang Yuan says the name Mentalist Xiaolin, a tray slides into Lu Sheng's peripheral vision. It is being carried by a girl with silver hair and red eyes. Lu Sheng is mid-chew with a chicken leg in his hand. He just gives her a relaxed smile. Xiaolin's brain short-circuits. She is in pure shock. She lets out a small eep and jolts so hard her tray nearly flies. Then she bolts. She is still rattled from earlier and now she cannot even eat in peace. She thinks, oh, so that is who she is. She thinks, oh, so that is who she is. Yang Yuan is sitting across from Lu Sheng and she blinks. She asks if he knows her, but he just heard a rumor about a 4th person. Yang Yuan winces. She says it is said there is a 4th person as well, but she says the rumors of that person are simply way too far-fetched. She lays out the legend like she is reciting urban folklore. She says they are talking about a literal psycho here. She laughs and says no way there is really a person like that. She tells him she does not buy it at all. She catches her breath and then adds something. She says, however, that instructor was the real deal. She says everyone in this camp is genuinely talented, but our boy, the monster who shook the entire Baihei City delegation, is just another face in the crowd here. Ho Yu Jiu. So she gently encourages him not to feel small. She tells him not to worry. She says she believes in him. She tells him with his abilities and talent and given more time here in the training camp, he might not be any weaker than them. Lu Sheng coughs into his soup. He thanks her and then says, Before he can break the news, 2 camp officers stride up to the table. They ask if he is student Lu Sheng. They tell him because he destroyed 18 mechanical puppets in the entrance assessment and beat up the supervising instructor who is still unconscious in the hospital, they need to take him in for questioning. They ask him to please come with them. The canteen goes silent. Yang Yuan's jaw drops so hard it clicks. She just goes, ha. Our hero nods perfectly calm. He says, got it. Then he immediately raises a finger to the officers. He says, though, he is still hungry. He asks if he may have another portion to go. The officers exchange a long, tired look. They say, fine. He grabs a bagged chicken on the way out. He turns to Yang Yuan and apologizes. He says sorry about this and he will have to go first. She nods numbly and is still processing. She says, all right. The moment he is out the door, the canteen erupts. They start screaming and asking if the rumors were really true. They ask if a monster like that actually exists. Yang Yuan, who 5 minutes ago was patting the kid on the head telling him not to feel intimidated, slowly slumps forward with the dead eyes of someone whose entire ego just cratered. She mutters and asks, what did she just say? The scene shifts to the command and control center. Lu Sheng walks in casually with the chicken still in hand. The icy blonde Lieutenant Colonel Dong Xingxiu is lounging across her console chair and tapping at her tablet. She tells him, however, after some discussion, they have decided not to take any action against him. She says, after all, he was just doing as he was supposed to in the assessment. She says that is not his fault. Our boy exhales and goes, phew. Right then the door slides open. The other prodigies who pass the entrance assessment file in behind him. Stone-skinned Cao Young is in his garish Hawaiian shirt. Speed-type Meng Jinhei has the dark spiky hair. Mentalist Xiaolin is hiding behind her bangs and refusing to make eye contact with our hero. And then there is the red-haired showboat. The 4 real survivors of the entrance plus Lu Sheng. 5 total. The instructor formally congratulates them. She says they all did well. She says in this training camp, the stronger you are, the more resources you will receive. She tells them here are their cards. The cards get distributed. Cao Young flips his over and it is gold. He says this is the gold points card the teacher mentioned to him before he came here. He says there are 100 points in here. Our boy glances at his card. It is white. The whole room goes quiet. Xiaolin blinks. She asks, why is his card white? Lu Sheng turns it over in his fingers and stays calm. He flips it. The card lists the camp's price menu. Monster Meat Canteen costs 5 points per meal. Training room costs 10 points per hour. Regular instructor training costs 30 points per session. Lu Sheng raises an eyebrow. He says, seems like eating meat is the only useful thing here. Then the redhead leans in with a smug grin and drops the bomb. He calls him kid and asks what he is talking about. Our hero stares at the redhead and then at his card. He says, hey, and here he thought this training camp was only about one's abilities. He says he did not think there would be things like special favors here. The redhead, whose full name is Cao Young, grins coldly. He says how disappointing. Meng Jinhei, the speed type, pipes up. Cao Young cuts her off. He says of course he does. He starts spinning. He says the kid spread rumors about himself and bribed the students and instructors. Cao Young steps forward and golden energy flares around his fist. His stone skin awakening kicks in across his arm. Meng Jinhei holds up his hands trying to play peacemaker. He says, hey you guys. Xiaolin tugs Cao Young's sleeve and is mortified. Cao Young activates his full-body stone skin and every muscle hardens into living rock. He yells, cut the crap and bring it on. Our hero raises one hand, just one finger, not a punch. A blue ring of force snaps out of his fingertip, then another, then another. Layers of compressed stellar impact radiate outward like sonar pulses. Each one is more concentrated than the last. Lu Sheng tilts his head and looks deeply unimpressed. He mutters, and says he was the one who asked him to hit him, so he cannot make him pay for that. Our boy Lu Sheng has just demolished Cao Yang's stone skin with a single stellar finger flick. The entire command center is still buzzing from the aftershock. Meng Jinhei, the speed-type prodigy, is whispering a low whew under his breath. Xiaolin is staring. Even the dust has not settled. But before our hero can stroll out the door, Lieutenant Colonel Dongqing Xiu, the chief commanding instructor herself, steps into his path. Dongqing Xiu tells him that if he is willing to spend training points, she will personally take him on as a student and guide his development one-on-one. But our boy turns it down without a second thought. He thanks the chief and tells her there is no need. He casually mentions that he has more important things to do. He says he is going to sleep. After our hero strolls off toward the dorms, Dongqing Xie is still chuckling about it with another senior instructor. She points out that the dorms have 0 training resources, and she has decided to just let him do whatever he wants. Dongqing Xie explains that our boy is not just gifted. In this world, certain rare individuals carry a special type of talent. They do not just grow strong themselves, they sharpen others the way a grindstone sharpens a blade. And in Dongqing Xie's words, Lu Sheng might be sharper than every blade currently swinging on the battlefield. Major Qin brings up a name from their own past. The name is Ding Peng. He had a physical type gift. That kind of gift gave him raw, overwhelming power, right out of the gate. He flattened everyone in their training camp. He walked over the entire batch like they were nothing. They literally called him the king. But here is the thing about physical type talent. It hits hardest in the early stages, because real strength, the kind that holds up against a top-tier opponent, is not just muscle, it is skill, it is speed. It is observation and judgment and experience and tactics and strategy. They peak early, then the world catches up to them and leaves them behind. That might be Lu Sheng's future too. The scene shifts straight into our hero mid-fight, throwing punches at a vicious opponent. This is a zombie, and not just any zombie. It is a strong one and a fast one. It is an aggressive one with glowing red eyes and a body that will not stay down. Lu Sheng moves through the fight with clean, precise efficiency. He uses his stellar body refining art to amplify his strikes. He weaves footwork with raw power. The zombie keeps coming and swinging wild. But the young man reads every motion. He times his counter perfectly. He lands the finishing blow with a devastating impact. The thing crumples. Then he stops and really looks at the body. And what he realizes shocks him. The zombie he just put down was, in life, a rank 6 martial artist. That is elite level. He thinks that compared to his absurd vitality and recovery, the parts of him that are still raw and underdeveloped are exactly the parts everyone else takes a lifetime to build. Things like martial arts knowledge and combat experience, footwork, fist techniques, palm techniques, leg techniques, spear techniques, sword techniques. He thinks that nobody can be the best at everything. He is going to learn all of them. That is his path, and before he walks it, he knows there is one more piece he has to fix. It works on zombies because zombies are spiritually weak, psychic energy. He has to train his psychic energy hard and fast. He closes his eyes and starts the meditation cycle. Inside himself, he visualizes his own spirit floating in a vast purple-violet space, and it is calm and motionless and slowly tempering itself. Just then, in one clean burst, his psychic energy shatters through the wall, holding it back. Crystals of mental power explode outward inside his mind. He has advanced again. He calls Ellie, his system AI, and asks her to pull up his biography. Ellie obeys. It is the future life he originally lived. It is the one he gets to read about and rewrite. His name is Lu Sheng, male. He was born June year 297. His martial arts prowess is rank 7 martial artist. His permissions access is level 3. His past life now reads like a hero's resume. Rank 7 martial master. Our boy can barely believe it. He thinks that in ancient times, that level of strength was the kind that put you on par with a feudal lord. But the part that really matters is at the bottom of the screen. His permissions access just jumped to level 3, and level 3 unlocks higher tier techniques in the database. He immediately tells Ellie to look up the advanced volumes of the 3 techniques he is already practicing. The system pulls them up one after another. Just as the young man predicted, his level 3 access lets him read the upgraded versions. But while he is scrolling through, something else catches his eye. Something glowing red. It is hidden a little deeper in the archive. Something that does not look like a supplementary technique at all. He opens it. Our boy Lu Sheng discovers a powerful scroll called Divine Illumination of the King of Hell. The scroll reveals advanced psychic techniques. They are not meant for typical fighters, but for psychic mentalists. This art allows the creation of a second body or clone. The clone enhances the user's physical capabilities and especially their vitality. Our hero realizes that strengthening his base vitality is crucial to breaking through his current limits in combat power. He thinks that this technique harnesses psychic energy for personal growth. He thinks it showcases the depth of martial arts knowledge that has accumulated over thousands of years. He learns that the creator, Duan Yifeng, is exceptionally talented, but he acknowledges that even such genius could not save civilization from destruction. This motivates him to strive harder to grow stronger. The scene then shifts to Xia Lin. She is a young psychic prodigy. She is training under the watchful eye of her instructor Dongqing Xue. She is improving rapidly. She is mastering the control of star-shaped constructs. She is close to reaching the level of a rank 1 mentalist. However, Dongqing Xue points out a significant weakness in Xia Lin's mental fortitude. She tells her this indicates possible past trauma. When asked about it, Xia Lin confirms her struggles. She seeks guidance on how to resolve her issues. This highlights her vulnerability despite her talent and progress in her training. Dongqing Xue gives Xia Lin a strong suggestion. She tells her she should find the person who caused her trauma, and she should either defeat or kill them. She says this will make the trauma go away. Xia Lin is taken aback. The chief believes Xia Lin is in a phase of quick growth. She notes that her opponent has been in a weakened state while she has been developing. Meanwhile, Dongqing Xue and Major Qin discuss Xia Lin's skills and character. They acknowledge that although she is talented, her personality is soft. They then talk about another student. They talk about our boy. Meng Jinhei comments on him continuously sleeping in his dorm. He suggests he is becoming a lost cause. As they joke about Lu Sheng, they discuss the upcoming assessment. They wonder whether Meng Jinhe's team or Shay Lin will excel. The scene shifts to Yang Yuan and another student after training. They chat about points and rankings. Yang Yuan's friend voices envy towards others scoring high points quickly. The friend then asks about our hero. This leaves Yang Yuan unsure about their relationship. She reflects on how he made a big impact initially but has since disappeared. The friend speculates that Lu Sheng might be hiding for strategic reasons, but Yang Yuan disagrees. She insists he is not like that. As they discuss the next phase of training involving extreme gravity, Yang Yuan learns someone has been training under quadruple gravity. She is filled with curiosity. She races to the chamber. There they find our boy. He is displaying remarkable control and strength despite the challenge. This surprises Yang Yuan. She is shocked by what she sees. She questions his actions. Cao Yong is in the academy training hall, having just completed a challenging test under triple gravitational force. He performed well, lasting nearly 4 minutes, which impresses the onlookers. While he enjoys the attention, he secretly feels competitive and thinks about surpassing his rival, Lu Sheng. He learns that Lu Sheng has been sleeping for over a month, which Cao Yong views as a waste of time and points. As Cao Yong is reveling in his success, Lu Sheng suddenly appears, looking relaxed and disheveled. Cao Yong cannot hide his surprise when Lu Sheng announces his intention to train immediately at level 2 gravity, despite having not trained for weeks. Cao Yong, astonished, doubts that Lu Sheng can handle the pressure without warm-ups. The gravity chamber activates with Lu Sheng inside. While everyone outside braces themselves for a demonstration of strength, Lu Sheng shows no visible strain under the pressure. Instead, he casually moves around, astonishing the onlookers. Cao Yong apprehensively watches, fearing Lu Sheng may fail. Unexpectedly, Lu Sheng presses a button that raises the gravity level to quadruple. The chamber shakes, causing chaos outside as students are knocked back by the force. Despite the enormous pressure, Lu Sheng remains unfazed. The display confirms Lu Sheng is now training under quadruple gravitational force, defying expectations and raising the question of what his true potential might be. He treats the intense environment as a warm-up, performing push-ups effortlessly, while the chamber structure begins to show signs of strain. In a corridor filled with excitement and tension, a crowd watches in shock as a figure inside a gravity chamber performs incredible feats. Xia Lin arrives, tired and curious, and is surprised to see everyone staring at the chamber. Inside, a young man named Lu Sheng is effortlessly balanced upside down and then flips onto his feet, composure intact. The onlookers are baffled by his strength, especially Cao Yong, who feels betrayed as he had expected to surpass Lu Sheng by now. The crowd erupts in astonishment when the gravity increases to 5 times normal. The chamber fills with intensity as lights flare and the room shakes. Lu Sheng takes a deep breath, showcasing his mastery of the natural breathing technique amidst a powerful energy that glows around him. Students are rushing through the halls, excitedly asking each other if they've heard the latest news. They are all heading to the G-Force room, where Lu Sheng is demonstrating his abilities. Suspended mid-air under 5x gravitational force, Lu Sheng is performing martial arts moves with ease but believes he can handle more weight. He feels the need for greater pressure to truly challenge himself. Outside the chamber, a crowd is amazed and questioning what Lu Sheng will do next, especially since 5x is already a significant challenge. Suddenly, the display shows an increased number, and the crowd erupts in excitement. Meanwhile, on a higher floor of the academy, Dongqing She and Major Qin discuss the students who have quit the training camp. Dongqing She believes the current group is capable, while Major Qin worries about their readiness for real battles against monsters. As they talk, Major Qin notices something on the wall of monitors tracking training progress. To his shock, someone has broken the record for the G-Force room. Initially thinking it's Cao Yong, Major Qin is taken aback when Dongqing Xie reveals it is Lu Sheng instead, now at 8x gravitational force. Major Qin is astonished, realizing that Lu Sheng is someone very special. Major Qin confirms this is the individual they have been searching for. The scene captures the rising anticipation around Lu Sheng's potential. The scene returns to a chamber where a boy is struggling under intense pressure. He is braced against the cracked floor, breathing heavily as the display shows 8x gravitational force. Realizing this is too much for him, he decides to try a new technique he learned from a scroll. He focuses and constructs a glowing heart inside his chest, a representation of his inner strength. This newly formed heart boosts his vitality by around 10%, making him smile with newfound confidence. Despite the challenges, he approaches the control panel again. Outside the chamber, the audience is anxious and unsure of what he will do next, especially since he is already at 8x gravitational force. Suddenly, the chamber's pressure increases to 10x, causing chaos outside. People are struggling to stand, overwhelmed by the force. Inside the chamber, the boy experiences extreme pain and pressure, but he recognizes that this is exactly what he needs. He believes that to change the future, he must learn to exceed his limits, not just rely on skills or talent. After our boy leaves the chamber that experienced 10x gravitational force, the crowd makes way for him. A girl named Yang Yuan rushes forward with a towel, which he accepts with gratitude. As he wipes his face, he receives a notification through his earpiece, revealing he has earned a significant amount of points for setting a new record, 4,335 points. He feels pleased, realizing this will let him enjoy some meat after 3 days without it. As he walks, the crowd of students follows him, whispering about his achievements. Yang Yuan watches him with admiration, impressed by his presence and strength. Meanwhile, a silver-haired woman discussing our boy's impressive record-breaking feat against another student known for his defensive talent, Chen Xiao. The silver-haired woman considers his strength-type talent and the direction he is headed, standing up as he approaches the footwork and movement studio. The scene begins in a high-tech training chamber filled with laser emitters. As the simulation starts, Chen Xiao expertly navigates through the beams with impressive agility, showing his advanced footwork skills. The system announces his training is complete, with an 87% success rate, marking him as one of the top trainees. Chen Xiao feels a sense of pride, realizing he has surpassed many other trainees and a significant portion of the human population in skill. Meanwhile, a group of students from another training area, including a confident red-headed boy, arrives to see what the commotion is about. The redhead doubts that Lu Sheng, whom he categorizes as a sleepyhead, could break any records. However, when he sees Lu Sheng moving through the intense laser fire, he is shocked and questions how it is possible. Lu Sheng continues to excel in the challenging conditions, avoiding beams and speeding through the chamber, while the students around him react in disbelief. They are astonished by Lu Sheng's advanced skills, suggesting that his movements appear to be driven by foresight rather than mere reaction. Dong Xingshu notes that achieving such precision would be impossible without extensive experience. She becomes increasingly intrigued by Lu Sheng's abilities as he avoids the lasers with close calls. In the movement studio, a silver-haired observer, Dong Qingshe, watches Lu Sheng as he trains. She notes that there is no psychic energy within him, despite her curiosity to test it again. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng feels lighter on his feet, achieving a training completion rate of 62% and successfully clearing level 2 of the footwork and movement training. Observers around him express confusion about the ease of his performance, noting his perfect physical control. Dong Qingshe is intrigued by his progress, while Major Qin shares a light moment with her regarding their mutual interest in Lu Sheng. As the training progresses, a new challenge begins. Level 3. It intensifies with glowing energy spheres and a laser cage, causing students to worry about its difficulty. Lu Sheng enters the challenge confidently, dodging the projectiles skillfully. However, he soon realizes it is more challenging than before and decides to put in more effort. As he pushes onward, his training rate increases dramatically, reaching the inner discernment stage, which impresses the instructors who recognize its rarity. Unbothered, Lu Sheng accelerates his breathing technique, achieving a completion rate of 100%. Bystanders are astonished at his speed, claiming he appears to have vanished. The atmosphere is filled with admiration for his rapid progress in the training session. The chamber powers down, leaving Lu Sheng alone, breathing heavily at the far end. Dong Qingshe, however, notices the leaderboard and sees Lu Sheng is moving on to level 4, which shocks the instructor, who is still training for it himself. Inside the chamber, Lu Sheng taps the panel to activate the next level. The lights dim and laser beams form complex shapes. Bystanders are left in awe, questioning the possibility of dodging such fast-moving obstacles. As Lu Sheng's completion rate increases, Dong Qingshe realizes he has reached an advanced stage. Facing challenges, Lu Sheng prepares himself mentally and is at the brink of his abilities aided by his speed buff. He initiates a powerful psychic technique called Divine Illumination of the King of Hell. Suddenly, the chamber freezes and time seems to stop as he navigates through the still laser beams. He realizes he has achieved a transformation typical of rank 3 psychic mentalists, making him smile. Dong Qingxue watches in shock, breaking her psychic crystal as she acknowledges him as a true psychic mentalist. Dong Qingxue stands on the catwalk and unleashes a powerful psychic attack aimed at Lu Sheng in the chamber below. Lu Sheng counters with his own psychic energy, and they collide in a shockwave that pushes Dong Qingxue back. She realizes that Lu Sheng is also a strong psychic mentalist with comparable abilities. Major Qin is stunned by this revelation. Inside the chamber, Lu Sheng lowers his hand and tells Dong Qingxue she can observe but not interfere. He reflects on his training and recognizes he has hit his limit while also noticing some interference. Undeterred, he re-enters the laser cage, sustaining minor injuries but continuing to push through. The completion bar for his training reaches 56%. The system congratulates him for surpassing most martial artists his age in footwork and movement skills, which astonishes the onlookers. Moments later, the system announces that Lu Sheng has set a new record in the training studio with a score of 97%. After exiting the chamber, he dismissively tells Dong Qingxue he is heading to the cafeteria for a new item, leaving her feeling insulted yet amused. In Dong Qingxue's office, our hero is called in by his chief instructor after 3 hours. Major Qin is already present, and they want to assess him. Dong Qingxue mentions that each dorm has 2 blood collection needles for checking vitality. She inquires if he has tested his vitality, but he admits he hasn't because he couldn't use the standard needle. She already knows he has advanced to rank 3 due to his previous performance in the G-Force room. She uses it on our hero, and the device reveals his vitality as 24.65 and his martial artist rank as rank 3. Major Qin is surprised, noting it has been about 10 years since he has seen such a young rank 3 martial artist. They proceed to check his combat power index. Our hero readies himself and hits the impact plate. He is then surprised when new abilities are revealed, and when he punches the plate, the machine shows a combat power index of 271,920. Major Qin is astonished, stating that a rank 3 martial artist reaching this level is remarkable. He congratulates our hero, giving him a slip to indicate he has graduated from the training camp, allowing him to pursue what he wants while reminding him to report back to the Martial Association. As our hero tries to leave, Dong Qingxue stops him for one last test. She presents an energy crystal used to assess psychic power from a historical cavern. She instructs him to touch the crystal and release his psychic power into it. He focuses, and the readout shows his psychic power as 143,247 with a purity index of 4.2. This astonishes Major Qin, who notes the improvement from previous measurements. Dong Qingxue challenges Major Qin confidence in their comparative abilities, remarking she's not convinced Lu Sheng is weaker. Their exchange continues humorously until our hero hands the crystal back. However, he suddenly takes it again, concentrating deeply and releasing powerful energy. The readout numbers rapidly increase, astonishing both instructors, with Dong Qingxue stunned by what seems impossible. The crystal in the boy's hands shines brightly, showing a psychic power level of 13.56 T and an alarming purity index of 20.3. Dong Qingxue is shocked, realizing this number is 5 times her own and far beyond what is normally achievable. She reflects on the rigorous training it takes to increase one's purity index, thinking that gaining even a single point requires immense effort over years, while this boy seemingly has done it without struggle. As her thoughts spiral, she starts to lose her composed tone, calling him incredibly talented and almost godlike. He confirms he does, mentioning he learned from a mentor who passed down unique techniques. Dong Qingxue feels relieved but still amazed at his progress, noting he has been training for less than 3 months. She believes he could be a one-of-a-kind talent. Furthermore, she tells him about the Psychic Mentalist Association, which has resources for him that his current training camp cannot offer, and gives him her personal token to present there. Lu Sheng humbly mentions he has never met his teacher directly, making Dong convinced his mentor is exceptionally wise. The hero contemplates his situation, realizing his psychic gift might not suffice. He shares a bold claim. His master is from 10,000 years in the future, and he identifies himself as Duan Yifeng, a rank 11 martial artist. Major Qin presents a card containing $5 million as an early reward for Lu Sheng's performance, even though it exceeds the training camp's budget mainly spent on meals. Lu Sheng is shocked, realizing that his meals cost the military around 7 to 8 million, making him question whether he can afford to eat well again. Dong Qingshu then informs him that the payment is also part of a recruitment effort, emphasizing that a martial talent like Lu Sheng will be needed on the battlefield to honor fallen heroes. Major Qin adds an enticing detail about the beautiful female soldiers in the Eastern District, which makes Lu Sheng nervous. Importantly, the military has chosen him to represent the Dongning Prodigy training camp in the Morning Star selection, where one genius trainee from each province is selected for future martial training. Lu Sheng eagerly agrees, knowing he must maximize his potential. Major Qin expresses confidence in Lu Sheng and tells him that the selection trial's reward will be even greater. Lu Sheng contemplates his college exams and decides to stay at the camp a bit longer. After he leaves, Major Qin jokes about his motives, while Dong Qingxue admits her jealousy of his talent. She acknowledges that Lu Sheng will bring significant change to the era. Lu Sheng enters the Bayou City Martial Association and heads to the elevator, recalling that Chairman Xiao's office is on the 6th floor. Upon arriving, he hears shouting from down the hall. When she sees Lu Sheng, her mood brightens, and she invites him in. The old man is Chairman Xiao, and he observes Lu Sheng with a smirk. He prepares to use Lu Sheng to tease Xiaolin, praising her while downplaying Lu Sheng's achievements, claiming there are many weaker than her. However, before the tension escalates between them, Chairman Xiao shifts his focus to Lu Sheng and questions why he is back when the training camp is still ongoing. Lu Sheng simply shrugs and hands over a sealed document, explaining that Chief Instructor Dong asked him to deliver it for vetting and approval. Chairman Xiao becomes suspicious, thinking there might be trouble with the camp that Lu Sheng is trying to involve him in. He tears the document in half, trying to dismiss it, but when he looks closely at the torn pieces, he realizes Lu Sheng has advanced to become a rank 4 martial artist. Lu Sheng calmly confirms this advancement, stating that Chief Instructor Dong conducted the assessment at camp. He explains that he needs Chairman Xiao's countersignature to make it official. Though Chairman Xiao laughs, his disbelief is apparent. He examines the document, which shows a combat power score of 270,000, and questions how Lu Sheng, who he mistakenly believed was eliminated from the camp, could achieve such a score. Lu Sheng corrects him, noting that he never claimed to be eliminated. That assumption was made by Chairman Xiao. The atmosphere in the room becomes tense with this revelation. Chairman Xiao tries to deny any suspicion about a document and suggests verifying it with a video call to Chief Instructor Dong. Xiaolin sets up the call, but instead of her grandfather, Dong Qingshu appears. She acknowledges Lu Sheng's return and asks if Chairman Xiao is present, making him nervous. Xiaolin is taken aback and recognizes that Dong Qingshu is her grandfather's counterpart. Dong immediately questions Xiaolin about her training progress, declaring that she will face increased training. Xiaolin agrees, feeling overwhelmed. Dong informs Chairman Xiao that she reviewed the document he wanted and demands that he approve it quickly. She reveals that Lu Sheng is set to represent their camp at the Eastern District's Morning Star selection, emphasizing that he is the strongest prodigy this year. Chairman Xiao is overwhelmed and pledges to finish the required approval promptly. Dong has one more instruction for Lu Sheng. She tells him she has gathered materials for psychic mentalist weapons he requested and will send him a list of prices. She encourages him to decide which items he wants and to start preparing for his assessment to reach rank 5. After her instructions, the call ends, leaving Chairman Xiao in disbelief over Lu Sheng's accomplishments. He expresses admiration for Lu Sheng, recognizing him as Baiwei City's genius of the century. As they exit the Martial Association, Chairman Xiao offers Lu Sheng a ride home, but Lu Sheng declines, stating he has another stop to make. While in the taxi, Lu Sheng reflects on the power dynamics in the martial artist world. The driver, intrigued by Lu Sheng's connection with Chairman Xiao, questions their relationship, but Lu Sheng clarifies that they aren't related and that the chairman is just friendly. Suddenly, the driver slams on the brakes, causing the taxi to skid as a large golden plaque falls from the sky. It is the signage of the Honguan Martial Arts Academy, the school represented by Ni Shuang, and it crashes onto the street in a dramatic display. Lu Sheng watches closely, his curiosity piqued. The fallen plaque belongs to Honguan Martial Arts Academy. A red-haired brute named Lin Tishan introduces himself as Academy Master Ni Hongchuan, addresses a crowd of students. He has come to challenge all the students of Hongchuan Academy. He states his rank 4 status. He says he is there to settle scores despite being injured and having issues with his father. Ni Shuang is a student of the academy. She confronts Lin Tishan angrily and accuses him of being shameless. Lin Tishan brushes off her comments. He recalls that 20 years ago, Ni Hongchuan did the same. He says Ni Hongchuan defeated local academies to build his reputation. Ni Shuang points out that they are relying on an 18-year-old rank 2 martial artist. He explains that he was hired by a rival academy to destroy Hongchuan Academy. He says the goal is to lure back students who had left. Ni Shuang attempts to fight Lin Tishan. Lin Tishan is confident in his strength. He believes he can manage even with support from rank 3 martial association members. But she is held back by her father, Ni Hongchuan. Her father steps forward to take up the challenge. The fight quickly turns disastrous. Lin Tishan lands a devastating blow on Ni Hongchuan. The academy master falls broken to the ground. He is unable to withstand the attack. Lin Tishan mocks him. He reveals he has actually advanced to rank 5. He says he has been waiting for a chance to fight a stronger opponent. He demands that Ni Hongchuan go to the Martial Association and shut down Hongchuan Academy. A dazed Ni Hongchuan agrees. Ni Shuang watches in horror. Just then, our boy Lu Sheng casually walks in. He shows no concern for the situation. He questions why the academy should close, since it is a good place for training. Ni Shuang is surprised to see him. Lin Tishan sizes our hero up. He recognizes his potential. He offers to teach Lu Sheng the Tishan secret technique if he joins their academy. Our boy expresses curiosity about how Lin Tishan plans to teach him. Lin Tishan's mood shifts. He transforms into a massive demonic figure. He compliments the strength of Lin Tishan's punch. Then he counters with his own force. A blue ring of stellar energy bursts forth. Lin Tishan is sent flying through the air. He crashes into the courtyard wall. After the dust settles, he lies motionless in a crater. Blood is streaming from his mouth. Our boy approaches Lin Tishan and is amused. He questions how he plans to teach him now that he has been defeated. Lin Tishan is a rank 5 martial artist who has been defeated. He is left confused. He questions how he lost. The students at Hongchuan Martial Arts Academy are shocked to learn that our boy, the victor, is only an 18-year-old rank 2 martial artist. They urge one another to help him and leave the site quickly. Lin Tishan is taken away before he can speak. Ni Shuang runs to her father Ni Hongchuan. They confirm they are fine. Lu Sheng casually addresses them. He advises that the academy should stay open. He says it would be hard for him to find another one close by. Ni Hongchuan and Ni Shuang are very grateful. They offer their assistance for anything our hero needs, but he insists it is nothing significant. He mentions that the incident was partly caused by him. He clarifies that he will only help this once. He says in the future they must defend the academy themselves. As our boy leaves, Ni Hongchuan and Ni Shuang are concerned. They realize how powerful Lu Sheng is. They consider how he defeated Lin Tishan with ease. They speculate about his rapid advancement in strength. He was only a rank 2 martial artist 3 months ago. This leaves them to wonder about his true level now. Our hero arrives home. He is greeted by his worried mother who questions his late return. He explains that he helped stop some people from bullying the elderly and weak. He gets reassured by his laughing father. His father is proud of him being a registered martial artist. The father emphasizes the importance of helping those in need. He praises Sheng's character. Sheng's sister Qin She inquires about some effective meat he sent back. She suggests it has boosted their father's health and her own vitality. She jokingly suspects he might have stolen the meat from his training camp. Despite her teasing, our boy claims he earned it. Their mother gently asks about the training camp. She expresses concern for Sheng's well-being. Later, their dad speaks to our hero in a warm tone. He notes that he senses something deeper within him. He encourages Sheng to pursue greatness. He reassures him that their family will support him no matter what. This prompts our boy to vow quietly to become stronger. He wants to protect his family and ensure their warm, ordinary life continues. The scene shifts to a ruined city under a purple sky. Dark figures roam through the wreckage. A powerful zombie martial artist attacks, but it is quickly defeated by our hero with a single punch. He feels confident. He believes he can now handle rank 6 martial artists with ease. Sheng dusts himself off and observes an abandoned military base in the distance. He contemplates the strong zombie aura he sensed previously. He wonders whether he is ready to confront it. Determined to investigate, he steps into the base. There he finds silence. Just then, glowing eyes appear. A blade strikes at him. Our boy dodges and retaliates with a blue ring of stellar force. He slams a stellar impact straight into the martial master zombie's gut. The shockwave detonates outward. The zombie barely flinches. Our hero lands in a skid and his eyes are wide. He thinks even though he did not really give it his all just now, he has already used 6-bay stellar impact along with the buff from his footwork. Switch. Breath of the flame. Fire red key erupts beneath his feet. 10x stellar impact. A column of golden force tears through the air and slams into the zombie at point-blank range. The explosion swallows the whole street. When the dust clears, the martial master is standing exactly where he was. A faint shimmer of golden light cocoons his body. It is blocking everything. The zombie stands still, surrounded by an invisible shell. Our hero, Lu Shang, steps back and observes him closely, thinking the zombie has no intention to attack. He realizes he cannot defeat the zombie and believes that his attacks would barely affect it due to its protective layer. Lu Shang reflects on the situation, understanding that the zombie is a deceased martial master and does not see him as a threat. He feels grateful that the zombie is not attacking, or he would have been in danger. Lu Shang recognizes the significant difference between rank 6 and rank 7 in martial arts. He realizes that only rank 7 beings are martial masters, while rank 6 fighters are still martial artists, highlighting the vast gap between the two ranks. Feeling discouraged, he thinks he cannot even deal any damage to the zombie and wonders whether he should give up. He decides against giving up, believing there must be a way to defeat the zombie. Lu Shang thinks that if he manages to kill it, he will gain access to the memories of a martial master. Punch after punch strikes the martial master's golden force field, but it does not budge. Our boy feels exhausted yet determined. He notices a small weakness in the force field he can exploit. However, he realizes that attacking it millions of times would tire him out completely. Even as a rank 3 martial artist, repeated strikes threaten to drain his stamina. He considers retreating, but then he remembers that since gaining rank 3 psychic power, he can easily defeat lower-ranked zombies. In a moment of clarity, our hero recalls his psychic energy. He usually uses it for support, but he recognizes he can attack with it. Although he struggles to condense his psychic energy into a weapon, he forms a rotating ball of compressed light and throws it at the force field. This causes it to crack. He tries again with a larger sphere, but it still fails to break through. Despite being hit hard and covered in shards, he refuses to give up. He decides to combine all of his techniques and forces into one final attack. With everything he has, psychic energy and breath of the flame, and 10x stellar impact and perfected fist technique, he strikes the golden shell with his fist. This time the force field shatters completely. It sends a powerful force through the martial master zombie's chest and splits its body in two. As the monster collapses, it whispers that the souls of the heroic never die. This prompts our boy to vow to inherit its will. Just then, Lu Shang is thrust into a vivid memory of the martial master's past. He recalls chaos in a command center. He is congratulated on becoming a martial master while alarms blare and officers warn of falling bases. He sees a little girl asking if he will come with them. He kneels to assure her that he must remain on the front lines. The memory shifts to a giant menacing creature descending from the sky. Despite claiming to have no fear, he feels a shiver of dread. Another martial master joins him. They charge at a rank 9 monster together. They succeed in their attack. Our hero learns from this experience. He feels invigorated with thoughts of becoming a rank 8 Grand Martial Master. He realizes the extensive amount of knowledge he has just inherited from the martial master named Shi Shen Nin. All of its techniques and experiences in martial arts have merged with him. His hands glow as he feels his skill in fist arts advancing rapidly. As he reaches a new understanding, he transitions into a new stance. He is embodying the profound control stage of martial arts.